Tonight's show is a little bit different. We start with a public service announcement for the IWC. We talk about Logan Paul, and I explain to you guys why Triple H is playing it safe. All that and more on this week's episode of the Casual Wrestling Community Show.
Notorious.
Big it up, big it up.
I want to go on record for the last 365 days. I have tried. I've given my best effort. CWC, I have tried to be a positive voice, a positive light in this pro wrestling content creation world. I have bit my tongue so many times. I have turned my cheek far too many times when I post completely objective opinions and the IWC just bubbles up from their mother's basement. When I post completely objective opinions and they come sneaking out of the cracks in the floorboards, the delusion takes over them. They cry, they bitch, they whine, and they just come after. No matter what I say, no matter what take I give, they have an issue with what I say. And I don't know what it is, to be honest with you guys. I don't know why this week there was one in particular that stood out to me. And this asshole he wrong place, wrong time. What he said pissed me off. And I don't know what it was. But last week I gave my perspective on, and I started to quote with, I'm a casual wrestling fan giving a take from a casual wrestling fan's perspective. And this guy comes out and says that my takes are comical, that nobody should take me serious. Honestly, I don't understand anymore what people want from me as far as content creation goes. I started off and I ruffled the feathers of everybody. I tried to switch over and be Mr. Nice Guy. But this guy calls himself the best gout machine, which tells you everything you need to know about this fucking douchebag, okay? But this guy calls himself best gout machine, and he just tries to chop down and tries to create attention by using my content, and it's goofy as fuck, right? I say this all the time. I don't make content for people that are goofy as fuck. I don't make content for the best gout machines of the world. And I didn't want to have to start this week's show this way. I didn't want to have to start this week's show already on a fucking soapbox. But here's the problem. I've gone through name changes. I've had different personas, different personalities, but they all come deep from within who I am and how I'm feeling in that moment. And for the last 365 days, I've gone by the moniker of NerdyD. And NerdyD's whole persona was supposed to be the friendly neighborhood wrestling podcaster. I was supposed to make content for everybody. But the reality is, I'm so tired of this shit. I'm so fucking tired of the IWC. I'm so tired. I've tried to use the name Nerdy as a way to extend an olive branch, as a way to connect with these other content creators and these other people, and it just doesn't work. These cockroaches just come out of the cracks to instigate and stir up shit. And I'm not sure if anybody saw in the Discord, but I posted a tombstone with the name NerdyD on it because I think it's official. I think the name NerdyD has been laid to rest. I think it is time to move on from that persona. I think it is time it's time for the evolution. It's time for the revolution. That was a visceral reaction. That was me just going, I'm done being Mr. Nice Guy. I'm putting NerdyD to bed, and I am coming up with something different. The way they try to make WWE fans into cartoon characters, they try to tell you WWE drones, you just everything WWE does, you see nothing wrong with it. The way these IWC nerds just obsess over AEW and obsess over the fact that we're actually enjoying the product that WWE puts on TV. It's insane to me the way they obsess and they try to differentiate and they try to call us, you guys are sports entertainment fans. Like, here's the reality, guys. We're all sports entertainment fans. I don't know what you IWC sickos think, but your company is a sports entertainment company just as much as WWE is a sports entertainment company. And you guys fucking complain no matter what video I put out. I can be negative. You guys say I'm just negative all the time. I can be positive. You guys just fucking say, oh, look at him. All he does is suck the dick of the WWE. Well, yeah, I'm done with it. I'm done with it. I can't stand these idiots anymore. I can't stand these guys who comment on my videos and go, yeah, you're not a casual fan. You're in the IWC. No, you just don't understand what a casual wrestling fan is. You don't get it. And I can tell you how many IWC snarks comment, bro, you have title belts. If you have title belts, you're part of the IWC. That's not what having title belts means. I unfortunately, I get that it's hard. When some people have to scrape and spend their last dollar to get a title belt because that's all they want and they live and die for professional wrestling, I feel for you, but you're probably a sicko. That's not me, man. I have disposable income. I can waste my money on hobbies that I enjoy that I'm not a sicko about, right? I don't have to spend my last dollar. And that's not a flex. That's a mentality. I'm explaining that while I may have wrestling belts over here, I've got a different hobby off camera that you don't see. And it doesn't make me hardcore. I could podcast about anything, right? But I chose professional wrestling because I am a casual wrestling fan. And when I looked at the podcasts that were available to the world, I saw that there was a hole for the casual wrestling fan. There wasn't somebody who was speaking from the perspective of the fan who doesn't live and die by what they see on TV every week. There was a space for the wrestling fan who doesn't want to talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling and doesn't necessarily want to talk about MLW and really doesn't want to talk about AEW a whole lot. There was a space open and I jumped in to fill that void. And I understand some people don't understand how podcasting works, but you can have a casual podcast. You can talk about a topic casually. So what that's led to, though, we're dropping the name NerdyD. There's no more NerdyD. From now on, I'm fighting back. I'm back. This is how I started, and I'll go down in the trenches. I will go down swinging. The IWC created this monster. They created this persona. They have to live now with the disruption that I plan to create in the wrestling content creation space. From now on, I'm fighting dirty. As a matter of fact, fuck it. Call me Dirty D from now on. Call me Dirty D, the casual wrestling voice of the masses, because that's what I'm about to be. I am going to push back. I always made it a priority not to comment and interfere in other people's content, but that's out the window. It's all out the window now. Now the gloves are off. I'm looking through the scope. I am looking for the stupidest takes. I am going to be petty. You call me Dirty D, the petty casual if you want, but today marks the beginning of what I'm calling the casual wrestling revolution. I am coming for the IWC, and I hope you guys join me. I hope you guys get behind me, and we do this as a group, and we just go single-handedly and take down each individual idiot in the IWC. And here's the thing. Look, I've told you guys before, YouTube and TikTok, they don't like it when I talk about people. They don't like it when I get real like this. They don't like it when we get up in someone's face and we get personal and we use names. Well, guess what, YouTube? Guess what, TikTok? If you don't like it, fucking ban me. Get rid of me. There's competitors, buddy. I'll go over to Rumble. I'll go over to Twitch. I'll go over to X, but I won't be silenced. You guys, you can do whatever. You can report this account, report it. I'll just keep coming back as a different account. At this point, it's war. The war is on. I'm going to war with the CWC faction on my back, and we are going to take down the AEW sickos. So this episode right here, this episode's going to be a little different. This episode is going to be the mark of the revolution. We are 100%, we're going after the IWC in this episode. So look, if you guys want, start posting any dumb IWC takes that you find in the Discord, or tag me in them on social media, tag me on them on TikTok, tag me on them on Instagram, on X. I'll get all my social media fired up so you guys can find me and let me know what the IWC is saying so we can take these assholes down together. But from on, NerdyD. It's NerdyD from here on out. No more playing games, rebranding everything. Let's fucking go.
Warning, the following take will offend the internet wrestling community. Viewer discretion is advised.
So I ran across this little gym yesterday when I was scrolling through social media where the IWC loves to hang out. And this little gym came from somebody named Air 23 Gold. And Air 23 Gold said, Michael Cole is yelling at you guys that wrestling doesn't matter in WWE. The Rock is making sure you know he's just playing a character. Both are actively killing kayfabe and wrestling along with it. Let's start. Let's start. Here we go. IWC. This is one of those takes that you guys throw out there that make me wonder, what level of belief do you need in a story for it to be kayfabe these days? Like, you guys do understand Robert Downey Jr. doesn't play Iron Man when he leaves like a Marvel movie shoot, right? You guys understand that the doctors on Grey's Anatomy, they can't save your life when they leave the set of that show. You understand that, right? You guys understand in IWC that the days of The Undertaker protecting kayfabe, those days are long gone. And they're long gone because of these little things we have called cell phones, where people record every little thing that happens after the show. The Undertaker could go live his life outside of wrestling, and he had to protect the gimmick in certain places, but people weren't filming his every move. It's just, I don't know what the IWC wants, but I guess what what you don't know is this might surprise you. Dwayne isn't Maui either. He's not the Tooth Fairy. He's not a war hero. He's not a Scorpion King. Dwayne Johnson is an actor. And when he goes to WWE, he is acting like the final boss of the company. What's going on in that ring? Hate to tell you, brother, it's not real. And most of us casual wrestling fans turn on wrestling knowing that what we're watching is going to be acted out, and it's not real. It's going to be goofy, and we're okay with it. It's not real fighting, and we're okay with that. We're not overly critical when a fake punch misses. We understand that it's a pageant. And it's a Circus Soleil event. We understand that it's a soap opera. It's a Marvel movie all smashed into one. And we watch for 3 hours. We tune in. We understand what we're watching is entertainment. We turn it off and we go about our day. But my guy, does it hurt you that The Rock admitted that what he's doing in that ring is not real life? I have never once felt the need after a WWE show to go on social media and complain that The Rock has broken character the next day when he goes out to promote one of his 6 other businesses that he has. Like, this is pro wrestling, assholes. This is pro wrestling. If you truly believed at one point there was a dead man, if you truly believed at one point during the Attitude Era that they let a special needs guy wrestle, like, if you believe those things, I don't know what that says about you. I don't need kayfabe to enjoy professional wrestling. Right now, we have a 40-year-old guy running around yelling yeet after every sentence, and it's fucking amazing. If I met that guy in real life, I think he was a complete idiot. But this is wrestling. I understand what he's doing is all for my entertainment. Now, do I love every single thing that happens in pro wrestling? Of course not. But I can respect that WWE is attempting to put out the best product they can. The goal is to appeal to a broad audience, not to appease one asshole sitting in his mom's basement who just learned that The Rock isn't The Rock 24/7. And then so you go on then to make a comment about the things Michael Cole said when he was on Impulsive. And you take those things out of context and you try to spin them in a way that I would say is disrespectful to pro wrestling and is absolutely asinine. Like, he said that WWE isn't a wrestling company anymore. He said that they are an entertainment company. oops. Like, guess what? That's wrestling in general. That's AEW as well. If you're looking to watch wrestling, and I tell people this all the time, but if you're looking to watch wrestling, they do that at Division I schools. They do that in the UFC, and they do it every 4 years at the Olympics. But entertainment is when somebody does a fucking Mexican destroyer. They don't do that in Division I wrestling. That is a pro wrestling entertainment move, and it doesn't lessen what it is. It just is what it is. Pro wrestling is entertainment, and the problem is that these companies have finally connected with the audience and understand that the audience, the casual audience, the one that makes up probably 80% of the audience, those people come for the entertainment. They don't come for the wrestling. And that's the problem with AEW. This is the disconnect with the reality that you AEW sickos have. You guys, numerous times I'm told on a video, I'll get told on this video, AEW is where real wrestling happens. WWE is for sports entertainment fans. Define wrestling. Like, really, anybody who says that, define wrestling for me. Please define wrestling. Get me the rule book for actual wrestling with pins and a mat and Division I referees. Because AEW, the last time I checked, they have exploding wrestling rings. That's not real wrestling. They have guys getting set on fire. That's not real wrestling. They use the same lights, the same smoke, the same big LED screens. They're just a clone of WWE, and it's all entertainment. Everything you watch that is professional wrestling in the way that we know it is entertainment. And that pisses you guys off. It pisses you IWC guys off. And what pisses you off the most is that WWE has embraced the entertainment side of it sooner than AEW has. And so they're just ahead. They're just on the cutting edge. That's why they're leading the business. But this is what happens when your company is run by a guy who is actually just an IWC sicko. He doesn't have an identity for his company. He's just a wrestling fan. He's a spoiled little child who has a toy box full of wrestlers that he wants to play with, and every time a new, shinier toy becomes available, he shits on the one he has. He has no loyalty. He loses his biggest assets, and he just continues to run his company the same way you IWC guys think that wrestling should be run, and it's proving over and over again to be a failing formula.
Warning, the following take will offend the internet wrestling community. Viewer discretion is advised.
So the IWC loves to hate Logan Paul, and this is a prime example of how the IWC doesn't understand what makes a wrestling company successful in the year 2025. I saw a post about Logan Paul, and it made me laugh my ass off. This post came from a pretty big time content creator, and they said the novelty of a famous YouTuber turned wrestler is gone, and there isn't much there otherwise with Logan Paul. I sometimes want to ask people, what are you watching? Like, what are you watching that gives you these wild ideas that you reach for? Logan is one of, if not the most hated personality in all of media. That's not just wrestling, that's media. And he said it on Impulsive with Michael Cole, and I believe this to be 100% true. Logan Paul would have go away heat if it wasn't for the fact that he's a phenomenal wrestler. There it is. You hear that part? He's a phenomenal wrestler. That's what what these people don't understand. That's hard for them to comprehend, is that he does every aspect of wrestling better than probably your favorite wrestler. He's better than Ricochet, okay? And Ricochet's the guy that the IWC now has heralded as the new king of heels. But Logan Paul's better than Ricochet. I don't care what you say. Logan Paul is a better all-around professional wrestler than Ricochet. And it's the IWC who wants to cheer and put over guys who they grew up watching in bingo halls and in churches and in like back rooms. That's the IWC dream, is because we grew up with this guy. I got to see this person before he was famous. Like, I love CM Punk, but let's be real when we talk about Logan Paul and CM Punk standing in a ring at the same time, and you guys tell me what's the difference, right? Because we're talking about a 40-year-old CM Punk who's stiff. He works slow. He works methodical. At this point, CM Punk's working on pure knowledge of the game, and he's absolutely killing it. Like I said, love CM Punk. But then look across the ring at Logan Paul and tell me what CM Punk does right now that Logan Paul can't do at his age. On a microphone, Logan Paul can't hold his own. He held his own with CM Punk, and he's held his own with every other person that he's gotten into the ring to at this point. So I won't accept those arguments anymore at this point. Now, you talk about athleticism. Logan Paul is as athletic or more athletic than every other person in professional wrestling. There's a very short list of guys who get put into the category with Logan Paul. Does he still need some work on the X's and O's? Sure, but the way they book Logan Paul is the way most people should be booked, and that is they safely book him with the spots that he can do, so he doesn't tend to make a lot of mistakes. It is time to put respect on Logan Paul's name. WWE can't consist of 10 main event cookie cutter guys all fighting for the top spot every week in every WrestleMania. You need guys like Logan Paul who are willing to do the dirty work, who are willing to be the bad guy, Logan's not in business for himself. And I know that pisses a lot of people off, but Logan's pretty much a company guy at this point. He's pulling the company line. He's doing whatever he's being asked to do. Logan Paul is about to get into the Elimination Chamber. And who wants to bet? I'll put a pizza bet on it right now. Who wants to bet that Logan Paul has every intention of having the biggest spot of the night when he's in the ring with CM Punk, John Cena, Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre, and Seth Rollins? Logan wants to show these guys up. And you know what happens when you have a guy like Logan Paul in that match? It tends to take everybody else's game and elevate it to the next level because they go, oh, Logan's hungry? We gotta match that energy. And here's the problem with the IWC. The IWC is gullible, right? Because right now, Triple H is dangling all of these different matches in front of their face. And so this week, he put CM Punk and Logan Paul in the ring, and that caused a shitstorm. You want to know the fastest way to get the IWC back on CM Punk's side? It was to put Logan Paul in the ring, because now all of a sudden, the IWC's overreacting and going, you can't put CM Punk in a match with Logan Paul. Don't waste him in that match. Like, it's insane the amount of overreaction that has come from the IWC based on what Triple H is doing. And what Triple H is doing, he's just playing games with you guys at this point. And it's no different. It's no different than how they react for The Rock when The Rock comes out and they all get all, it's going to be The Rock versus Cody. Oh, this is stupid. The Rock showed back up. No, man, like, that's not happening. Like, it's probably not I'm telling you guys right now, Triple H has a plan in place. I believe this wholeheartedly. I still believe we get to The Rock and Roman. I think he has a plan in place, and he's just fucking with you guys right now. He's teasing us at every turn. Like, he has the card set. He knows what that card looks like, and I still believe we're getting Roman versus Rock. I think we're probably getting Punk versus Cody, but he's going to dangle every other possibility in front of you to get you guys to talk, to get us in the Discord going, what about this match? Could it beat this match? Me and Wavy D are doing a show where we try to predict what matches we get to at WrestleMania, and every week it's fun to overreact and go, did you see this? Did you see what this could possibly be a match? This could be a situation. And then on top of that, Triple H feeds the dirt sheets all of this bullshit so that they get to putting out different rumors. It's the playbook of Triple H at this point. He has a destination set, but he loves to tease us on the way to that destination. Like, I've even settled in on the idea that I'm confident Bianca Belair is going to get a decent match at WrestleMania. Based on the way Triple H has been booking, he's playing with my, like, at this point, he's pulling on my heartstrings. He knows what he's doing. He's dangling the possibility of her not being in a good match, but the reality is, Bianca Belair has a WrestleMania streak. They want to keep that streak alive. And so they're going to build towards an Undertaker-like streak at WrestleMania where she doesn't need to be in the biggest title match year after year to be featured on the card. Like that's the way Triple H is booking. It's just the IWC tends to fall for these things and overreact. And then they pin the blame on Logan Paul because they don't know where else to pin that blame.
Warning, the following take will offend the internet wrestling community. Viewer discretion is advised.
So the next post I found on social media, and I'm not sure if this was just someone trying to stir the shit pot, but this one really caught me off guard. And this brilliant post says, on the last Monday of Black History Month, Triple K showed his true colors and took the titles off of Bianca and Naomi. I don't know where to start, but we'll start. I get the importance of identifying with the wrestlers you see. Let me throw that out first because someone somewhere will try to make this into an I'm racist argument, which, say whatever the fuck you want. I really don't care, but I'm going to break this down from a wrestling and a casual wrestling perspective. It's human nature to identify with certain people and to like wrestlers that maybe look like you. I don't do it, but I know it's human nature and a lot of people do it. But I think it's extremely dangerous if we start letting whatever month we're celebrating dictate the booking of pro wrestling. I think we're in trouble when that starts to happen. I think when we look at title drops as a negative thing, we begin to lose perspective of what wrestling really is. Bianca and Naomi are set to be a part of major storylines at WrestleMania, right? You really think that they should forego the opportunity to tell a great story and have great matches at WrestleMania because it's February and we have to have a certain number of black champions. I don't find the rationale to agree in that. If you want to argue right now that we need more black champions in general, I will stand behind that argument 100%. And I will get behind the argument that I don't know sometimes what Triple H is doing. But let's slow down on the idea that Triple H is a racist. Let's pump the brakes on that. Let's stop with the Triple K thing, right? Sometimes the IWC wants to act like there's just two races of wrestlers. There's black wrestlers and there's white wrestlers. And I always ask, is that it, right? Like, Roman Reigns, not white. He was champion for 5 years. Nia Jax, not white. She was champion. Bianca Belair is the longest Raw champion of all time. Let's cool the jets there. Let's stop looking at someone's race and just start looking at their credibility, what they've done to become champion. Because when you look at Trick Williams and you look at Obi Femi, they're two of the best in NXT, and they've been rewarded with solid NXT championship runs. And I think it discounts that when you get race involved. If you're under the belief that Trick Williams and Obi Femi only held titles because they're black or because it's February or because we're celebrating something, I think that's an ignorant point of view. They held those titles because they are respectively two of the best in NXT, and they are deserving of the position they get. If the story calls for a white champion, that's what I want. If the story calls for a Mexican champion, that's what I want. If the story calls for a black champion, that's what I want. But this idea that like Bianca and Naomi dropping the titles is disrespectful plays right into the idea like Raquel Rodriguez is a minority, so they lost the titles to another minority. What type of booking are you looking for? What are the rules of booking that we should abide by? March is Irish American History Month. Does that mean we have to put the titles on Sheamus, Becky, and Lyra? I think May is Pacific Islander Month. Does that mean that we just put all the titles back on the Bloodline? I think it's dangerous to throw out comments like this. Because the White Knights of the IWC, they do latch on and eat this kind of shit up. And like I said, representation is important, but not based on what month it is. That's the part of this I don't like. Like I said, if you want more black champions, I am right there with you. I have been bitching and complaining that Montez Ford is the next big guy in WWE, whether singles or tag team. I've been saying that for a long ass time, but I don't want Montez Ford to be champion because they feel the pressure of February. I want him to be champion because He's deserving of being a champion. Belts are props, though. That's the other thing I don't understand. Wrestling titles are just props. They don't mean anything. They're just part of storytelling. They're just an easier way to help the casual wrestling fans identify why people are fighting and why these matches should be important. Like, a good story overshadows titles every day of the week. So when you look at Bianca and you look at Naomi, they actually, I think that they're stepping up out of a division that's a complete shit show. Like, the fact that Bianca is getting out of the tag team division, we should be celebrating this day, not looking at it like it was some kind of negative. Look at Kevin Owens, a guy who hasn't had a title in like 5 years, and he's one of the most relevant wrestlers on the roster. And you know why that is? It's because he continues to figure out how to be relevant without a title. He continues to figure out how to be entertaining without a title. Bianca and Naomi are going to be fine. I promise. This was not malicious. This was not a dig at a race. I guarantee that if you look internally at the roster sheets and the depth charts, I guarantee you Bianca Belair is held in high regards, and I think Naomi's held in pretty high regards going into WrestleMania, as well as Jade Cargill is held in high regards. So I just think it's a dangerous thing to do, is to drop takes like that when I don't know. I think you're searching for intention there, my guy. I don't think that there was any malicious intent in what Triple H did this last Monday when he took the titles. I was saying this for weeks, that this is where you do this, and I think Triple H made the right call, and I think we're moving on to a new story.
Warning, the following take will offend the internet wrestling community. Viewer discretion is advised.
All right, CWC, tell me if I'm wrong on this one, but I ran across this post and I thought it was relevant to today's show to follow up on some things that I said last week that then were kind of taken out of context and commented on. And this pertains to Ricky Saints. And this post says, the horrible name change, the unholy downgrade from his AEW theme, his lackluster stolen laser show from Okada's Grand Slam entrance, because WWE has never had an original idea in their history. It's official, guys. Little Richard is just another bona fide failure by WWE to try to make a nobody from AEW into a star. He just doesn't have it, and he never will. The unwashed NXT drone army will be rolling in the mud for weeks after this travesty. So I'll need the backup from the NXT division of the CWC. But I did watch at least a little bit of NXT this week, and I did for sure watch the entire Ricky Saints match because I'm interested in kind of the progression of Ricky Saints. And I saw the boys in the Discord saying that they're going to do a live watch along for Roadblock. So if you guys are interested, make sure to join the Discord and hang out. I'm going to try and catch up so I can get in on that. If not, I'll just go in there and ask a bunch of questions. But let's break down this idea, because I saw something completely different this past Tuesday. Is AEW the first company to have a circle laser machine? That's a wild insinuation that the circle laser is a ripoff of there's only so many lights you can use in production for an entrance. And to me, I didn't see ripoff when I saw that. As far as his music goes, I thought it was fine. I guarantee you that's not the final version of his theme song. I guarantee you it will get amped up. It will get tweaked. That's kind of what WWE does these days, is week to week you see little things added. You see it with Penta, right? Every week Penta's got a new firework, a new laser, a new light. So WWE has, they kind of tweak as they go these days. But I just, to me, everything that I saw with Ricky Starks fits the character or Ricky Saints more importantly. The problem is they were in a little ass arena. And when you're in those little ass arenas, you're not in the normal NXT studio. You got that wonky ass ramp that I just absolutely hate. I hate when AEW does it. I'll go on record. I hate when WWE does it. I don't like the fucking ramp that runs parallel to the ring and you really don't have a runway to come out. If I knew that's what it was going to be, I would have held Ricky Saints for another week. But like I said, I thought the music was fine. I thought everything worked. I thought his energy was great. But, I thought the match was awesome. And to be honest with you, when I look at that ring, I don't have a lot of experience with 90% of the people in that ring. But Ricky Starks is a high energy guy. And he brought high energy in that match. And here's the thing, and my NXT guys can help me out. But here's the thing I'll talk about with Ricky Starks that I think is being missed. He's a microphone guy. And so it's going to take 2 or 3 cycles of NXT storytelling to get him involved in storylines where he has credibility and he has a reason to be mad. Like you kind of throw a guy like this into the fire, and it's the same I say with like an LA Knight. There's quite a few guys who need the momentum of a promo to get them to that level. So I think Ricky Starks did the best he could do with what he had in this opportunity, and I thought He worked the WWE pace and style extremely well. The bigger issue, I think, is the IWC needs to huddle together and discuss right now is the way the NXT crowd just torched AEW at the end of that night. NXT fans tend to be the ones, I always say this, that are willing to cross over company lines. Those are the fans that are usually willing to watch both products. They, to me, are a little less tribalistic. So to call them like tribal, I think NXT are usually the guys that are willing to watch a little bit of AEW wrestling, and they're agnostic in their beliefs of what company they like. But we got a Tony fumbled chant. That's hilarious, dude. That's wild. Like, you have to understand the coordination it takes to get a Tony. That's not your standard chant, my guy. The weird phenomenon that you IWC sickos have when a guy or girl leaves AEW, that to me is the psychology that I don't understand, right? When Cody left, you guys all turned on him. The IWC completely turned on him, right? They say, he ain't shit. He won't be shit, right? When Jade Cargill left, she ain't shit. She ain't gonna be shit. Same with when Ricky Starks or Ricky Saints left. You guys turn on him. I remember a time when IWC guys were telling me, because I said Ricky Starks. I've always said Ricky Starks is a little bit small. And I remember when IWC guys were telling me that Ricky Starks was the next big thing in AEW. He was the next guy that I needed to pay attention. And I needed to watch what I said. And he wasn't too small. He was the next guy. But now these same guys are mad because he's happy. He's in NXT and he's going to find success. And the IWC, you guys do the same thing on the flip side, right? You talk about a guy like Ricochet. When he's in WWE, all I heard was Ricochet's corny as hell. He can't cut a promo. But when he leaves and he joins AEW, you guys want to crown him the best heel in the business. At least as casual wrestling fans, what we are, we can stay consistent. We didn't like Ricochet when he was here, and we still don't like Ricochet now that he's there. You see how that works? That's consistency. That's what we do. Unlike you guys, you talk about tribalism, but the reality is we're truthful. You guys are tribalistic. The IWC, you're the ones who turn on people when they change companies. We just tend to forget who they are, right? When Sasha Banks leaves WWE, we just forget who she is. But like I said, Ricky's going to need a few cycles of storytelling to really find his WWE legs. I think he thrives in story elements. Once he works his way into the title pictures, when you're really going to start see him cooking. To drop a take where you call him a failure after 1 week is absolutely wild, man. And then to jump on this train and say he's biting Okada's style, like, my guy, everything AEW does is recycled from what they see in WWE, from the screens, the lights, the stage, the ring, that everything they do is just being modeled after WWE. But to say he doesn't have the it factor, to me, that's the most wild statement you could say, because in watching him for 20 minutes, I saw the it factor. I saw a guy that I go, oh, he's going to get over with casual wrestling fans. He's definitely going to appeal to casual wrestling fans. But I guess that when I read takes like this, it helps me understand the psychology of people who constantly tell me Will Ospreay's the best in the business, right? He's the best in the world. Is he though? Like, I watch him and I don't get it factor. Yeah, maybe technically he's sound, but he doesn't resonate. That, to me, that's the weird part, but it helps me understand the psychology of like an AEW sicko, is that you guys just don't understand what is a commercially viable character in wrestling. And I'll have my CWC NXT guys kind of clean up what I missed in the comment section. But to me, that's a wild misfire as far as I am concerned. All right, so next, let's switch gears and let's jump over to a segment where we take on a few comments that get directed at me on a week-to-week basis in a segment I'm calling Firing Back.
Come for one, you come for all. Don't think you can take the heat. Short your ship and run it hard 'cause you're scared of the CWC.
And in Firing Back, every week I break down these podcasts into longer clips and then into what social media calls short form content. And I post those shorts and those clips on YouTube and TikTok in hopes to generate new interest in listening to the podcast. But what inevitably happens is the IWC love to get that 30-second out of context clip and tell me how negative I am or how stupid I am or what I don't understand without actually understanding that there's more to the thought line and they probably should go research and finish it. But this is the section where I want to take some of those comments that I get and expand upon them and just let them know why they're wrong, why it was just stupid to reach out in the first place. And the first one here is Zai Review says, why are you calling yourself a casual wrestling fan when you have replica titles behind you? Now, I mentioned this earlier in the show, but I thought, why not? Let's pull an actual one that I got this week. This is probably one of the comments that I see the most, along with the other comment is, if you have a podcast or a wrestling page dedicated to fandom, you're not a casual wrestling fan. And it's like, so many people are out of touch these days with what podcasting is and what it has become, right? Podcasts are just shows for like-minded people to gather around a concept and hang out and talk about it. That's what it is. Listen to somebody talk about the things in the way that you like to hear them talked about. To me, it's interesting because casual is not a metric, and that's what the IWC wants to make it. They want to make it a metric, and I would say that casual is more of a mindset than it is a metric. I would say our Discord, the casual wrestling community, talks about 50% of the time about wrestling, and then there's about 50% of conversation that's bullshit. It's just other stuff. It's video games. It's television shows. It's Drewski, right? This week we've been talking a lot about Drewski and his new reality show. But to me, that's what a casual wrestling fan is. Wrestling brings us together, but it is not the only thing that we're able to talk about. What I think makes you guys IWC and makes you guys sickos is that you want to talk about wrestling and you want to talk about wrestling all the time and you can't step outside of that conversation, right? Wrestling just brings casual fans together, right? And a podcast doesn't immediately disqualify you from being a casual wrestling fan, as well as having a podcast does not make you an expert, nor does it make you an insider. I always love the comments I get when people are like, why do you have a podcast if you're a casual wrestling fan? Because I talk about it casually, right? I talk about it from the casual perspective. If you give me a history exam on professional wrestling, I will fail. I don't know anybody from MLW. I don't know anybody from New Japan Pro Wrestling. I could name right now maybe 10 guys in AEW. And probably 9 of them are going to be because they came from WWE. It's just wild to me that people are so infatuated and dedicated to the idea of telling me what level of fan I am. I am an informed casual wrestling fan. I say it all the time. I'm not a wrestling bro. Wrestling bro, we talked about this last week. Wrestling bros are the guys who come back when The Rock and John Cena come. I'm more informed than that, but I'm not IWC. And that's why the IWC dislikes me, right? Is because they want to lump me into that situation. But the problem is I just don't look like them. I don't think like them. I don't act like them. I am very different. I move very different. It's like when they tell me that Will Ospreay is the greatest wrestler of the world. And my answer is, nah, bro, he doesn't draw a crowd. Like, he doesn't sell t-shirts. They immediately then go into that's not the metric you should use. But that's why I'm a casual wrestling fan. In one breath, you're going to tell me that I'm IWC. And then when I offer a different perspective, the perspective of a casual wrestling fan, which makes up, I tell you guys all the time, makes up 80% of the wrestling audience, you guys are upset. I'm casual, guys. That's what it is. The reason I have title belts, I have a cool ass wife who lets me buy shit and who buys me shit, right? Like title belts. That's it. I don't bring this to the wrestling events. Unfortunately, anybody who's seen me out at a wrestling event, a few of you that seen me, I don't carry these with me. I'm not that guy. They're here because they look cool. I like them, but I don't live and breathe about those. You know, that to me, that's what makes the difference in a casual wrestling fan and in an IWC. All right, so a little bit of context for this next comment that I got. This comes from a video I made where I talked about Ricky Saints and his ability to use a microphone and how I felt like he held his own in AEW against guys like MJF and Adam Copeland. And this guy, AEW Chris, disagreed, and he came back and said, Ricky Saints is decent on a mic, but he did get cooked bad by MJF and Edge. Don't make excuses. The only AEW person that'll do anything in WWE is Cody, even though he's not even the best of the Rhodes boys. I see things so differently in regards to how Ricky Starks is what he was called when he was in AEW, how he handled himself in AEW. First off, let's go on record, right? MJF, top 5 on mic. Regardless of the company you're talking about, MJF is a top 5 guy on a microphone. And in my opinion, Ricky went toe-to-toe with MJF, and there's a part of me that believes he might have gotten the bigger reaction from the crowd, which is insane to me, right? Because MJF is that guy. The problem is, for guys like Chris and AEW fans and IWC sickos, you guys look at promos like rap battles and not like choreographed dances. AEW fans think that someone has to win the promo battle, and that is the downfall of your company entirely. The truth is, promos are supposed to have an agenda, and they need to be slightly scripted, and they need to forward the story. Now, when you get out there, you can say whatever you want, but there needs to be a goal in mind. If both guys go out there and they nail it, and both guys move the story forward, that's the ultimate goal. And I think with MJF and Ricky Saints, that's what happened. That is the reality of that is what happened in that moment. I don't really look at that as either guy got cooked. And to me, when you stand in the ring with a guy like MJF and you don't get cooked, that's a W. That was a W moment for Ricky. That was his coming out party. That was when I started to drink the Kool-Aid and go, I like this guy. I see what this guy could be. Ricky was able to let loose. The story called for him to kind of get out of the like safety of a babyface persona, and he was able to really kind of lay in to MJF, and he showed when you take the chains off, he could go blow for blow. So that's why I say in the MJF situation, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't think there's no way MJF cooked him as far as I'm concerned. Now, let's move on to the Adam Copeland situation, because that, to me, is extremely different, and it's very nuanced, and you have to look deeper into the psychology of wrestling to really see what happened in that situation. Ricky came out in character, and Adam Copeland was not prepared to have a promo battle with Ricky Starks in character. So what happened was when Ricky Starks got a couple shots in, which is the AEW way, which I don't agree with, but that's kind of the rules of AEW. It's the Wild West of promos. Ricky Starks got a couple shots in. So instead of Edge, Adam Copeland, Cope, whatever you want to call him, instead of him thinking on his toes and staying in character, all Adam did was just take cheap shots at Ricky while Ricky stayed in character and kept the story moving forward. The problem is AEW fans just like naughty words. That's why y'all are a bunch of immature little kids running around, right? If somebody says like a no-no word, you guys get all excited. So when Adam Copeland goes, you're just a vanilla midget version of The Rock, oh, y'all all lose your shit. But really what I saw was Adam Copeland stumbling to find words and just taking out of character shots at a guy and absolutely trying to bury him with the crowd. And then once again, Ricky fires back at Adam again, with a couple nice shots. And what does Adam do? He starts interrupting Ricky Starks and throwing off his cadence of the promo, which is horrible promo etiquette. You have to let the guy finish. You cannot with, oh, whatever. That's immature, childish shit. When I saw that, it made me realize Adam Copeland is not the consummate professional that I thought he was. He actually is a guy really embraced an ego, and he was not about to let the younger AEW guy show him up. So instead of thinking on his toes, he took the low-hanging fruit. He took the easy way out, and he basically closed the door on Ricky Starks in AEW. So I don't see what you're seeing, Chris. I don't see when I went back and watched these two promos specifically before I decided what I was going to say today. And to me, this is why the fans in NXT chanted Tony fumbled. This is why they said it. I will stand 10 toes down, like Ricky Starks said in his promo, that you guys in AEW lost another absolute star. And you guys have fumbled 3 of the most commercially marketable. No, wait, fuck that. You guys have fumbled 4 absolute gems, commercially viable, marketable wrestlers. We talk CM Punk, Jade Cargill, Cody Rhodes, and now Ricky Saints. Like, holy shit. You could build a company around just those 4 guys, and those 4 people have walked out the door because your owner did not know how to use those 4 guys correctly. And we've seen it with Jade Cargill getting over. We've seen it with CM Punk becoming an absolute monster. We've seen it with Cody Rhodes being the wrestler of the year in the biggest wrestling company. I mean, Cody Rhodes is the biggest wrestler in the world, maybe not named Roman Reigns right now. And these all were people that were in your company in the last 5 years. Like that, to me, that's insane. You got to take a look in the mirror, and we got to stop calling these people out and stop saying that, you know, we got to see things for what you got to speak truth, Chris. You can't, how you saw him get cooked, I'll never understand. All right, let's finish off the show by going back to my happy place. Let's get the big takeaways from the CWC faction. My boys in the Discord always dropping their takes for me to embrace and think about and really ponder about. And the first one comes from my guy, We Too Deep.
We too deep, no way out now.
We Too Deep's big takeaway is Triple H cannot book. It's obvious at this point that he cannot tell a single creative story by himself. He relies on legends way too much as an emergency blanket. His treatment of the women's and tag divisions over the last year have been abysmal. I struggle to recall one good storyline over the last year outside of Drew McIntyre and CM Punk. So Deep, I thought that as well. If you'd asked me this last month, I was right on board with you. But in the last 30 days, I've kind of opened my perspective and opened my mind just a little bit and tried to get into the shoes of Triple H. And what I've kind of discovered as I have investigated the booking style of Triple H is he's extremely safe. Extremely safe. And he's not going to take risk. He isn't going to put anybody in a position that is put up or shut up. He's not going to force people to earn it. He is going to make the most safe, comfortable booking decisions, and he's going to use the wrestlers that have established trust with him. He likes Rhea Ripley as a champion. He can trust her. He likes Cody Rhodes as a champion. He can trust him. Jey Uso got over with the crowd. He trusts Jey Uso now. He's going to reward him. And Gunther, while not my favorite, Gunther is a very trustable heel. He's not going to fuck up. He's not going to say the wrong thing. He is going to keep a very solid baseline. And while it may not excite us all, it is extremely safe. Gunther's not going to drop the ball. Now, the women's tag division, unfortunately, I think is a product of lack of interest from the casual wrestling fans. And I think you could maybe pin this to the early moments of that division and not drumming up enough excitement. But I think, let's be realistic. For the last year, Bianca Belair has single-handedly held that division on her shoulders. And I think now Triple H has kind of passed it over to Liv and goes, well, let's see what you can do with it. But he's not going to invest heavy resources into that division because the crowd's just not reacting. I think the issue is it just doesn't generate interest. And Triple H, like I said, he's not going to invest resources into it. Look, they put the titles on the Witchy Girls at one point. They tried to do something different. He took a little bit of a risk and it didn't move the needle. So he immediately went back to what was comfortable and what was safe. And he put the titles back on Bianca and Jade, which I think was the right decision. But I think at this point, we got to face the reality. Triple H he's just not going to take big chances, right? He's like a coach in the NFL with a lead in the fourth quarter. He's going to run the ball. He knows what works. He knows what doesn't work. He's not going to have a bunch of big whiffs because, here's the reality that we don't talk about. Triple H's job security is not promised in TKO. Like, he has a bad year. They will start to look. They've shown that they will move. They will move on. And I think especially with old Dwayne at the helm, Dwayne's probably chomping at the bits. It's funny. It's like, I always use professional sports, but it's like when a new owner comes in, Triple H may not be the coach that they want. They may have other ideas. So I think the idea is that Triple H plays it safe so that he doesn't have any big whiffs and he doesn't compromise his position in TKO. I also think, though, that there's an issue for the most part of public perception, and that is outside of maybe some of the more informed casual wrestling fans in the IWC. I think for the most part, if you asked somebody right now who watches wrestling, they would tell you Triple H is cooking. Now, you present evidence to the contrary, and I won't argue with you on that, but I think in general, if you took a poll, for the most part, casual wrestling fans would say Triple H is doing a good job. The mass majority of WWE fans are happy right now. What he does is he builds one or two big moments a year, and that keeps people's spirits up. And he uses those as momentum to move forward. You mentioned Drew McIntyre and CM Punk. That was his big dish in late 2024. He gave that to us because that fueled us kind of up to Royal Rumble. Then he has Jey Uso win Royal Rumble, right? No different than Cody Rhodes finishing the story. He's using these moments to create kind of safety nets and these big emotional outbursts that we get built up. We have a burst of excitement, and then he allows us to cool off while he cooks up the next story. And I think the next story we're headed towards, and I could be wrong, but I think we're headed towards like a corporation era, like the next iteration of The Rock being in charge and what that means. And I think with Triple H, these story beats are enough to keep casual fans engaged, even if the minute-to-minute moments in Monday Night Raw are not at the highest level they could be. He's just not gonna have any big missteps and let the audience pick up on that. You mentioned like him relying on the legends, but the legends are safe, right? Anytime you bring in a legend, that's a tool in your tool bag that's almost guaranteed to work. And the reality is, all of us who've ever worked a job, if somebody presents kind of a cheat code or a tool that makes your job easier, we're going to use that tool. We're not going to push that to the side and go, let me make my job harder than it is so that I can prove to everybody I'm real good at my job. No, we go, I like my paycheck. I'm gonna use the tools that are in my bag. Like, nobody grabs a screwdriver when you have an impact driver, right? You use the tool that takes the least amount of effort. So when you have John Cena, that's a cheat code. When you have Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, that's a cheat code. Even CM Punk has been kind of a unforeseen cheat code that we didn't know was going to exist. But that's Triple H's safety net. I think what you want, and what we all kind of want deep down inside, what you want is him to take a couple chances. You want him to make a couple risky decisions that we could be on the edge of our seat and watch them play out, and we can kind of, ride that roller coaster with Triple H. I just don't think that's going to be his style. I think he's going to book safe, And I think he's going to use misdirection. I think he's shown, and this is why I laugh when everybody overreacts to The Rock and all these things for WrestleMania. I think he's shown a lot of times Triple H knows the destination, but he's going to fuck with us on that path. And he's going to use misdirection. And he's going to make us look left when he's doing the right. He's going to tell us Alexa Bliss isn't coming back when she really is. He's going to tell us he hasn't had a conversation with CM Punk, then he shows up. He's going to tell us Randy Orton's not coming back, and Randy Orton comes back. Like, Triple H is going to use the dirt sheets. He's going to use every tool and avenue he has to throw us off, because he has a card written down right now for WrestleMania 41, and it's safe. And I think that at the end of the day, that's the style we're going to have to get used to. All right, the next community take comes from my guy, Milwaukee Mike.
Milwaukee Mike, he calls it right. No sugarcoating, just straight up fight.
Mike says The Rock has the potential to begin to turn into a Goldberg-type character, annoying and repetitive. If this WrestleMania season does not pan out to be great, we as a collective have begun to be on the fence whether The Rock is appearing for promotion or for good storytelling. Whatever happens between Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania will be very telling of how The Rock is perceived in my mind. I think, Mike, you want me to be real honest with you? I think if The Rock would just stop drinking, probably in the moments up to his promo, and just lock back in, we'd all be fine. I think the reason, I honestly believe this wholeheartedly, I have no proof, but I believe that the reason that promo ended up halfway through the show is somebody in the back saw that Dwayne was sipping on tequila, and they were like, we got to get him out there while we think he can still cut this promo. They should have probably opened the show on The Rock. I think that within the jumbled mess of The Rock trying to Shang Tsung and take Cody Rhodes' soul, I think there's a story in there somewhere that's going to be intriguing. I just think The Rock's got to lock back in. I think what happens is The Rock tends to come back to WWE where everybody loves him, everybody respects him, everybody wants to shake his hand and hug him, and he's got that tequila bottle with him, and he starts taking shots with this guy and taking shots with that guy, and before you know it, Rock's a little tipsy. And then The Rock goes, oh shit, I can wing this promo. And he goes out there and we get what we got, which was kind of a rambling mess. I truly believe The Rock is a professional, and I think that he will lock back in. I think that Elimination Chamber, you will see a very different performance out of The Rock. I think we'll all kind of lock back in. I think that was a slip. But I think, Mike, I'd hold the horses on calling him Goldberg, because it was just 365 days ago that we were fucking extremely ecstatic about what we were getting at WrestleMania, be it from the Cody Rhodes slapping The Rock and that whole kind of press conference they did to right the wrongs. I'm not ready. Sure, The Rock, and we know this about The Rock, he's going to show up when he has something to promote, and he's going to show up only for the biggest moments. But I think we have to give the leadway, because I believe The Rock has earned that at this point. But stay with me. Just stay with me through WrestleMania, Mike, because I'm going to tell you this. I truly believe we're about to witness the birth of the next chapter of WWE. I kind of said this a couple weeks ago. They're closing the book on the Bloodline story. The Bloodline story may continue, but it's not going to be story A. Story A is going to, it's like Fortnite, Mike. I don't know if you play Fortnite, but Fortnite, a chapter comes to an end, the game continues on, but the theme, the story changes. I think we're going to move into the era of corporate Rock. And that doesn't mean he has to be there all the time. It just means that Rock is going to have influence on the booking, and there's going to be some of that screw jobs that we're used to with the Vince McMahon. And I like that. I'll be honest. That's my favorite wrestling. I always think you need this kind of overarching villain overseeing and creating problems for the hero. I've said it numerous times. Cody Rhodes needs a villain so that he can be the hero. And I think The Rock is going to be that for Cody Rhodes. I don't think it's Cody that jumps ship and becomes The Rock's champion. I could see a world where CM Punk wins the title at WrestleMania. He main events WrestleMania, he wins the title, and he becomes The Rock's guy. Because on a microphone, there is nothing better than a disgruntled or a just cocky heel CM Punk. And I think that I could easily see. I mean, the turn, when CM Punk turns on the crowd, it's going to be big. And so if it's because of Dwayne, a lot of people are tired of Dwayne like you, I think that could generate massive, massive heat. But I also don't want to count out Roman Reigns in this situation as well, because I still believe that we could be just business as usual heading towards Roman versus The Rock at WrestleMania. That all it takes is Roman stepping in to this Cody Rhodes story, and boom, we're there. We're back at Rock and Roman at WrestleMania. But come back and correct me in a couple weeks if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, remind me about this and hey, say there was no smoke and fire, that like there was no misdirection. Because to me, a lot of this feels like misdirection by Triple H. It feels like he's dangled different matches in front of us over the last couple of weeks, and it feels like he's feeding the dirt sheets like, oh, Roman's going to be a part of this match, and Cody's going to possibly fight this guy. I think after Elimination Chamber, things will be a little more clear. I think after Elimination Chamber, Triple H won't be able to play these games the way he is right now. After Elimination Chamber, Triple H is going to have to tighten up the ship and start to lay out what the card looks like. But I do believe this, Mike. I believe right now, the reality is there's 3 or 4 people, and they're vital people in WWE, who know what the plan is for WrestleMania. And I think everything else you're hearing is speculation and bullshit being fed to these other people. And so I do think Triple H has a plan. I think he's trying to kind of throw us off. This has been his tactic. Like, it's the fool me once, fool me twice, fool me 3 times. He's fooled us like 4 times, Mike. He keeps getting us. So there's no need to me to have The Rock show up on SmackDown and then have him show up at Elimination Chamber if they don't have something big planned for The Rock. Now, maybe that ends up being The Rock versus Cody Rhodes. I don't even hate that idea, but I still believe, I have strong feelings that in the next couple weeks, we're going to see this come together, and that excitement that we had last year is going to start bubbling back up, and we're going to be good to go. Remind me though, Mike, in 2 weeks, remind me if I'm wrong. All right, the last take of this week's show comes from my guy, The Witters. So Witters says, this run is hurting Tiffany Stratton. She's stuck in this loop with Nia that is going nowhere, and they are not building up Tiffany at all. They are pairing her with Trish Stratus and Charlotte Flair. How many times have we seen Charlotte standing tall over Tiffany? Several. How many times has Tiffany gone over Charlotte? None. They aren't building her up to be anything bigger than what she already is. Now they want her to tag with Trish. Why isn't she fighting her one-on-one? It makes no sense. Tiffy gains nothing for winning a tag match a month before the biggest match of her life. To top it off, she's having a 20-minute botchy match with Candice LeRae on SmackDown. She's a champion. She needs to start looking like a champion. Witter's my man. I don't usually disagree, but I'm going to disagree here. What they're doing with Tiffany Stratton right now is using the tried and true formula that they used with Jey Uso, and that is they're using the sympathy babyface mentality, and it's happening right in front of our eyes. I told you guys a few weeks ago that Tiffany Stratton is the babyface in this story. She was a babyface when I said it, and now it's clear that everything I said's come to be. Triple H is using Trish Stratus as a safety net to make sure that he gets to his destination that he's trying to get to. And that destination is Tiffany Stratton getting over with the crowd, because he did wait till the last minute to try to make this turn. These title matches for Tiffany Stratton, they're not about building Tiffany Stratton right now. They're about building her championship reign and creating a sympathetic character so that when she does fall, we fall in love with her. And we build up that emotion to want to see her win a big match. Like, they're going to Canada. Trish Stratus is Canada. It guarantees babyface energy, and it immediately is going to make Tiffany Stratton likable. We've seen that in the last couple of weeks, right? And the Nia Jax stuff, that is just to contrast Tiffany being the good guy. They need Nia to be the bad guy so that they can keep Charlotte Flair. Right now, Charlotte Flair is about to become kind of a god tier character. And if you don't like Charlotte Flair, it's probably going to be a rough probably 365 days is what I'm predicting. But I think here's how it goes. I think Tiffany Stratton's going to get the win at Elimination Chamber. Her and Trish Stratus standing in the ring, crowd cheering, gives her big babyface momentum heading into WrestleMania. But you have to remember, Witters, 2 weeks ago, Tiffany Stratton was still a heel. She was still kind of balking at the crowd and talking shit. So Trish Stratus is the cheat code to change the audience perspective, and it also protects Nia Jax having a tag team match, which I think it's important to protect Nia because she is one of the better heels in the women's division. By having a tag team match, she doesn't have to take another pin. Candice can take the pin, and we move on, and you get exactly out of this match, I think, what Triple H wants, and that is, like I said, Tiffany Stratton with babyface momentum moving forward, Nia Jax protected, but you start to set up the stage for what WrestleMania is going to be. But here's the kicker, right? I said it a minute ago. If you're tired of Charlotte Flair, I have bad news. Charlotte's going to be champion coming out of WrestleMania. That's what this is all about. This is not Tiffany Stratton's story right now. This is about two things. I think we are heading into the year of Charlotte. This is going to be a year where they treat her like a wrestling god. I think she's going to win and win decidedly, and she's going to be a very strong heel for the next 365 days. But while they're doing that, they're going to be planting the seeds of redemption for Tiffany Stratton and creating a story where we become sympathetic to the journey. They've done it with Cody Rhodes. They've done it with Jey Uso. Tiffany Stratton is just next in line to me for this kind of sympathetic babyface journey that lasts about a year and will pay off probably at WrestleMania 42 in New Orleans. I think Tiffany Stratton gets the baton passed to her. But they have the model for success. Like they know how to do this at this point. They've done it with Jey Uso. They created a sympathetic babyface who has to overcome a godlike heel like Gunther. That's just kind of the MO right now of WWE. And like I said, it's probably not until next year that you get the version of Tiffany Stratton that I think a lot of people are craving. I think the reality is Charlotte's probably at the end of her full-time run, if we're being honest. If she wants to have a family, if there's other things she wants to do, this may be our last full year to embrace Charlotte Flair. And I think she goes out being full regal Charlotte Flair heel. That doesn't mean she won't wrestle some matches, but I think this is probably that last big title run for Charlotte. So yeah, I think it's not till next year that we see the torch passed for Tiffany Stratton. And unfortunately, I could be wrong, but I think what you're feeling right now is exactly what they want you to feel. They want you to feel like Tiffany Stratton's being held down. But that's all I have this week. Make sure to join me in my battle to take on the IWC because they will come for us in the comments of this video. The CWC faction is stronger when we stand together. Make sure to tag me in any wild IWC takes that you find online or screenshot and post them in the Discord so we can unleash casual hell on them together. Like, subscribe, and share to this channel. Find any potential casual wrestling fans and recruit them to the faction. I am the notorious NerdyD, and I will talk to you guys next week.
Head